Hello, good evening, everyone. It is Roxanne Francis tonight from Francis Psychotherapy, and welcome to Afterthought, where we talk all things mental health and real life. Yes, I'm using a filter tonight because it has been a day. Hey, Kelly, come on through. Tonight we are talking about boundaries. Guess who forgot to put their title in the comments? So let me see if I can do that right now. So tonight we're talking about boundaries and all things setting boundaries and taking care of yourself, because really that's what boundaries are all about. They are all about taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, letting people know how far they can come with you. Boundaries protect your space. They tell people how far to go, and it protects the thing that is within those boundaries. So that's all about protecting your space, protecting your energy, protecting your vibe, protecting your family, protecting your dreams, protecting your goals, protecting your productivity. So let's get in and talk about that tonight. So, how well are you protecting your own space? Um, you know, People have boundaries at work, they have boundaries with their extended family, and they have boundaries with their children. And I want to start with boundaries at work, right? Where you protect your productivity. Let's say you are working on a particular project, or you have notes you have to finish, or you have files you have to clean up. And there is a certain person who works in your office who's always stopping by your desk to chat. And when they chat, it's like a half an hour adventure. And you don't have time for that. You've got to create some boundaries around that. If you have an office, close the door, right? That's a big boundary. If you don't have an office, if you're working at a cubicle, you know, see if you can hang a little sign on a tiny hook that says do not disturb, right? Let people know that you're in a zone, that you're working. Send an email to your friends in the office, the closest friends to you at work, including that person who goes around, and you say, I have my head buried deep in some work right now. I can't come out for air for the next 2 hours. Or if that person has already stopped by your desk and you're realizing that this chat is going to be longer than 5 minutes, then start to slowly get up and start to move towards the exit or the end of the hallway. Grab some files, grab a red file, which is the file that kind of says urgent. Pick up a red file or any file or some books or some paperwork and walk with purpose and say, I have to get going, or I'm going to meet with so and so, or just get up and say, I got to go to the bathroom, right? You've got to protect your productivity at work. If you are going to, go on a big venture at the office, if you are joining people on a big project, if you are joining a big team, let's say there's someone on that team that you don't like. Let's say there's someone in your office whose energy does not vibe with yours. Then do your best to avoid them, right? Connect with other people. If there's managers at work that you really can't stand and they suck the life out of you, then do your best to only go to that manager when you have a particular problem. You walk in, but prepare yourself for that meeting. You walk in with the issue, you walk in with your suggestion, and you make that meeting as short as you possibly can, because you've got to protect that space. People will go as far with you as you let them, right? There are people who aren't outside of work. There are people who might be friends or acquaintances who are just like, are you sending your kids back to school in the middle of all of this? Or are you really teaching your children online right now? Or I can't believe you haven't decided about what you're going to do with your kids yet. Listen, that's your business. You don't have to tell anyone anything. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. You just have to show up for yourself, make your own decisions, and let those people know that those decisions are mine. You let them know how far they can come with you. Let them know that this is not up for discussion with them. Then there's other things like discuss boundaries with your extended family. And when I say extended family, I mean like your first family. So you're a full grown adult. You're age starts with a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, and you have siblings, aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents who have the nerve to be telling you about how you need to be living your life. And they will say things like, um, you know, when are you going to lose the baby weight? Or when are you getting married? Or when are you having children? Or when are you going to learn to drive? Or when are you going to stop taking the bus? Listen, none of this stuff is up for discussion with them unless you bring them into this discussion, or unless you entertain this discussion with them. You let them know that I'll do that when I'm ready. And then you exit the room, right? The longer you stand there, the longer they're going to persist with the discussion. And this is a discussion that you are not wanting to have with them, that you are not willing to have with them. So you step away and it closes the door, right? People might say, oh, that was awkward, or that was rude, or I guess you didn't want to talk about that. And that's the message that you want to send. I'm not having this discussion with you. This is a boundary and you can't cross it, right? You know, one of the things that I often talk to my clients about is, you know, your family, and how much we expose to them. The more you expose to members of your family, the more they feel like they have a right to step in to a certain realm in your life, right? You have parents inquiring about your marriage, inquiring about your income. You know, how come you can afford to go on vacation? Or didn't you just take out a loan? Hey guys, come on through. They don't have a right to ask you about that stuff. Close the door. And listen, it's fine if you're super, super close with your family, if you're super, super tight and you talk about these things all the time, then that's fine. It's fine to have that discussion. But if you are uncomfortable having these discussions with your family members, then you need to communicate that I'm not having this discussion with you. Will it get awkward? Yes, it will. But guess what? It'll send that message. I'm not talking about this with you. People will often ask me, how do I close the door with people like my family members, right? Or people at my church, or people who are acquaintances or a friend of a friend. How do I close the door? How do I create those boundaries? Well, it depends on how close that relationship is. It depends on the level of the relationship. So, for example, you can say things like, that's between me and my partner, or that's between me and God, or, you know, it's a private family matter, or simply, that's not up for discussion. And when you say those things, you step away, you walk away. It almost literally closes that door. I'm not having that discussion with you, right? And might they be offended? Maybe. But again, it depends on how close that relationship is, right? If it's just an acquaintance, then it says, you don't get to ask that question. You don't get to ask me about you know, whether I'm nursing my baby or bottle feeding them. That's not up for discussion with you, right? People need to know. Let's see. If the relationship is close, right, then you can decide to have time-limited conversations. So, for example, you can say, I can't have the discussion with you now, Mom, but I'll talk to you about it when I come by on the weekend, right? It closes the door to that, and it gives you all week to create the framework of the discussion, to decide what you're going to share, what you're not going to share, until you get to your mom's house 30 minutes away on the weekend. Or you can do something like call a person when you get in the car, you know, Bluetooth enabled, speakerphone, whatever. You get in the car and you have a 10-minute drive. You can say, I'm on my way to so-and-so. I only have 10 minutes. I thought I'd call to check in. That does not give a long time for people to delve all the way in to your life, right? And if they do, then you can say something like, I have to go. I'm merging onto that highway right now and I need to concentrate. or you can let them know an important call is coming in and I have to go, right? You have got to learn how to protect your space, how to protect your peace. And you have to do that by telling people, we're not having this discussion. And you can, like I said, you can either have that, you can either say that directly, we're not having this discussion. It's not up for discussion. I'm not prepared to talk to you about this right now. That's not something I'm willing to share. Or you can just close up the conversation really nice and neatly by saying, oh, I'm sorry, I have another call coming in, I have to go, right? Or I have a meeting in 5 minutes and we have to wrap this up really quickly. I can't discuss that with you now. How about another time, right? Create those boundaries. If there are people in your home, let's say you have a roommate, or let's say you live with your sister and she's getting too much into your business, her energy doesn't vibe with yours, then, you know, only talk to her about certain things, right? When she talks about certain things, change the topic. You know, if she likes to gossip and you don't, just say, I'm uncomfortable talking about this right now. Or let's watch a movie. Change the topic. What's the last thing you saw on Netflix? When was the last time you spoke to so-and-so, right? You take it upon yourself to change the topic. And that sends a message, I'm not having this discussion. I don't feel comfortable talking about that right now, which is completely fine. You know, the thing is that we live in an age where we are so uncomfortable with making other people uncomfortable that we take on the burden of being uncomfortable. And that kind of martyr existence is not going to fly, right? One thing that 2020 has taught me, and I'm hoping that it's teaching you, is that you have got to live authentically. You never know when the world is going to come crashing down. You never know when people might get sick and pass away. You never know. And so you have got to show up for your life in the way that you want to show up for your life, not in the way that people expect you to show up. You don't need to share because if people expect you to share. You share what you feel like sharing when you feel like sharing it, right? For different reasons. Hey, Jermaine. Hey, Desiree. For different reasons, when I was having my children, I chose not to reveal the gender, and people had all kinds of things to say. You know, from things like, it's selfish not to share the gender because people want to know how to shop for you, or no one knows what color things to get. I'm like, you know what? That's on me and my partner. Thank you very much. And when the kids are born, oh, look, it's a boy, right? You know, share what you feel comfortable with, and do not let people bully you into doing otherwise. Particularly in the West Indian community or in the Black community, there is the expectation that you're going to share everything. I don't know what it's like in other cultures, but there's just this expectation that you need to tell us everything, especially within families, right? And if you don't, then you're secretive. Well, let people say what they want. Who do you have to live up to? Whose expectations do you have to live up to? Yours. You don't have to live up to your cousin's expectations. You don't have to live up to auntie's expectations. You don't have to live up to your granny's expectations. And you don't have to live up to your parents' expectations. You are the one who has to live with yourself. And if you get that job that you've been searching for your whole life, it's an amazing job, and you tell everybody in your family how much money you're making, then Tom, Dick, and Harry's coming for a loan. And then when you say no and then you go on vacation, you're going to listen. I have heard it all from all of my clients, and you don't want to dig yourself into that hole. You've got to be comfortable with telling people no, right? You've got to be comfortable with saying, I'm not talking about that. You need to be comfortable with saying, that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm not willing to do that. You know, I had a friend a very long time ago. This joke is a little cold, but depending on your kind of humor, but she was, I think, in her 30s, and seniors kept asking her, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? Are you next? Are you next? So she was like, you know what? The next time I go to a funeral, I'm going to walk up to one of the seniors and go, are you next? Are you next? Because she was just tired of hearing it. And that was kind of her way of saying, I'm going to create some boundaries. So, you know, the other thing that I want to talk to you about is boundaries around children. People think that children don't need boundaries. Actually, the reverse is true. We have to teach our children how to exist in this world, and we have to teach them to create boundaries by showing them what our boundaries are, by showing your nieces and nephews what your boundaries are. No, you can't touch me there, right? Or, you're not allowed to don't lift up your shirt, or don't lift up your skirt, right? Things like, um, teach them to say, excuse me, and wait. Teach them to knock when the door is closed. Teach them that at the table we don't bring our devices. Teach them that on a Sunday afternoon after 3 o'clock it's family time. Or on family game night we don't answer the phone. This is family time, right? Or you don't call your friends' houses after 9 o'clock. Like, these are the things that you have to teach the younger ones, whether they're your kids or they're your godchildren or they're your nieces and nephews or your grandkids or whatever. We still have to teach them, because the thing about boundaries is that it denotes respect, right? And that's really what a boundary is. It's that line of respect. And what we're doing is we're teaching children how to respect adults. We're teaching them how to respect people in their family, and we're teaching them how to respect themselves, right? In my home, my children can't answer me what, right? And I know it's different in the homes of different people, but I'm trying to teach my children how I want them to behave in the world, and how I want them to show respect to adults. And so teach them not to pick up your phone, right? If they see your phone laying down, they're not allowed to pick it up and take a look. It's not theirs. They don't have a contract with the phone company. They don't have a job. Put the phone down. It doesn't belong to you. So you have got to teach the children that. The other thing is around kids is teach them boundaries like privacy. Privacy towards in terms of a closed door, but also in terms of their own bodies, right? We don't flip our skirt over our heads. That's not what we do. Or when you're getting dressed, you close the door. Or the things that are covered by a bathing suit, those are things that are private parts of our bodies, and only yourself gets to we have to talk to them about those spatial boundaries, so that as they get older they recognize boundaries for themselves, and they know when those lines have been crossed. Hey, Jessica. They know how far people can go with them. So boundaries are not just for yourself. You are mirroring to children how to live. You're mirroring to your mentees how to do work. There's a reason when you're in university, there's a reason that your professors have office hours. Those are boundaries. Those are the hours at which you can talk to them about that assignment. Don't come talk to them afterwards. They're preparing for their class, or they're going to another lecture, right? Same with sending emails, right? I tend to work late into the night because that's when my brain thinks the most. But I don't send emails late into the night. I send my emails in the morning because I respect people's boundaries. But also, too, I'm teaching people how to treat me. If I'm sending emails at midnight, at 12:30, at 1 o'clock in the morning, then people are going to assume that I can answer their emails or their text messages, or that they can call my phone at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they cannot, right? Those are my boundaries. So it's so important for you to have those boundaries, even in your business, in your personal life, when you're at work. You get to decide when you have certain discussions. You get to decide your availability to people. You get to decide when people can contact you. You get to decide what people can ask you. You get to, you can't stop people from asking questions, but you get to decide what you answer to, right? You get to decide which questions you answer, which questions you shut down, which questions you say none of your business to, right? Or this is how much I'll answer you, not the full way. Or that's not up for discussion, or that's really a private matter, right? Or you will know in due time. There is no shame in providing those answers. Do not let anyone try to shame you into giving more information than you are willing or you are prepared to share, right? You know, what I do with my money is up to me. What I do with my time is up to me. Where I spend my time, who I spend my time with. And I do not have to share that with anybody else, and neither do you. Because the truth of the matter is, if you make your life, all the details of your life available to everybody, if you make your time and your energy available to everybody, then there will be nothing left for you. And for me, that's what it boils down to. It's really about self preservation. And you know me, I am talking about the self care and the self love all the way to the bank, right? And people get tired of it. But at the end of the day, if you give your whole self away to everybody else, then what's left? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing left for you. There's nothing left to the people who are closest to you. So I encourage you to take care of that energy. Um, I can't talk to you now. I have to put my kids to bed. Or, when your phone goes off, must you get up and respond to it right away? Let people know. Let them wait. Um, People are messaging you or calling you in the middle of dinner. Let the phone ring. Put it to charge. Put it down. Finish your dinner. Do what it is that you have to do. The people who are in front of you, give them that time and that space because you carve out your time for them. And then when you have time later, if you have time later, you can respond to the phone. Unless you're expecting an important phone call or a text message, that's different. But let people wait. They know that they can wait. If we can teach children to wait, then adults can wait. The world doesn't have to be 24. The world can be 24/7, but you don't have to be a part of that 24/7 cycle, right? As it relates to work, what do your managers and your bosses expect of you at work? Hey, Megan, what do your managers and your bosses expect from you at work? Do they expect you to be available around the clock? Do you have to be available around the clock? If you start being available around the clock, then they're going to expect you to be available around the clock. And then the night that you're not available at midnight, all hell breaks loose. Where's that thing that I expected you to deliver? Well, I want it in the morning by 8 o'clock. By the time by the time I get to the office. But does it have to be? Does it require you to be up working through the night every night? That's not necessary. I mean, it's one thing if you're working on some massive project and it's huge and all hands on deck and we're working till in the morning. That's different. But if it's an all the time thing, I don't think so. You need to protect your personal time when it comes to work. That's the other thing I didn't talk about with where the work piece is concerned. You need to protect your breaks. If you get a 15-minute coffee break, take it. If you get a half an hour lunch or 1 hour lunch, take it. Unless there's some other previously arranged agreement where you work through your lunch and you leave an hour earlier to pick up the kids at the bus stop or whatever it is that you need to do. You need to go to therapy or you need to go to the doctor's office. If there is a prearranged agreement, then that's fine. But there should be no reason that you have to be working through your lunch every single day, even if there's a lot of work, even if there's always a lot of work. Because if you work through your lunches, if you work through all of your breaks, they will always expect that. And the day you cannot deliver is a day you're going to be in trouble. The day when you cannot work through your break, the day when you have to go to the bank at lunchtime, it's going to be a big deal why you're not available. Don't do that. Don't do that to them. Take your breaks. There's a reason why you take breaks. You need to go outside, breathe some fresh air, actually have a lunch. Have a lunch where you're chewing and not just shoveling it all in there, spilling Thai sauce all over your documents. No, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. And don't give your bosses and your managers the expectation that you are always on there, always working 24/7. Create some boundaries. Don't be working, I know a lot of people are working at home these days, but even when you're working in the office, you don't need to be working until 8 o'clock at night. Go home to your family. Even if you have no family to go home to, go home, order some food, watch Netflix, and rest your mind. As it relates to working from home, because of COVID-19, the work-life boundaries, those lines have completely blurred. There is no demarcation. You used to be able to shut your computer off at 5:30 and get on public transit for 45 minutes before you got home. You could read Essence magazine, you could close your eyes and snooze, or drive home for half an hour singing at the top of your lungs or listening to whatever talk show that's on the radio. And it would create a buffer between work and home. Now there is no buffer. Yes, Megan, you are living at work right now. We're no longer working from home. We are living at work. And our commute is really from our bedroom to the living room or from the kitchen to the home office. And it's all a matter of a 15-second commute, right? And, there's no demarcation between when your children have access to you. They just walk right in. Can I get a popsicle, right? Can I get some chips? Can I get a cookie? Right? You're in the middle of a Zoom meeting or whatever. Kids don't care. Right? You're accessible. Again, so back to teaching them boundaries. When my door is closed, mommy can't talk, daddy can't talk. When I have these headsets on, don't come in here. Or don't come in this space until, you can stand there and look, but unless I motion you forward, don't come in. We have to try. It doesn't always work, but we have to try. But, because there are no work-life boundaries at the moment, we have to do some things to help to create some demarcation between work and home life, right? I have a friend who is a business writer. Her name is Rebecca, and she talks about, she works from home exclusively, even before COVID, and she talked about in the morning, before she sort of got ready for work, she would read the news, she would slowly sip on her coffee, do her yoga, have a shower, get dressed in kind of semi-work clothes, do her makeup, and sit at her desk, and then her work day would start, right? None of this stumbling out of bed, checking your messages and answering as you get ready for work. Mm-hmm. And then when she signed off at 5:30, she would go for a walk, or I think she said she would sign off, change her clothes, right? Which said work clothes off, and put on my sweat that says or walk the dog, whatever that looks like. And it would signify that work is over. And she would create a boundary and not responding to work emails or work text messages until the next day. You can create an out of office. If you're an entrepreneur, you can create an out of office email that comes on at 6 o'clock or comes on at 5 o'clock that says, an automatic response that says, I respond to emails between 9 to 5 during the week, right? If your message comes in on Friday, after that, I will respond on Monday morning. Have yourself a great weekend, right? You have got to create some boundaries. It tells people how far they can go with you. Boundaries suggest respect, and they help you to take care of yourself. Create some boundaries, people. Even with your spouse, right? Tell them that you need some alone time. Tell them that you need time to, pray. You need time to go for a run. You need time to exercise. Megan, you need time to go on your bike, right? Let your spouse know that you need that time. Some guys I know, once they pick up the I don't even know what they call it because I don't play video games. That thing, the joystick or whatever. Is that what it's called these days? Yeah, I'm old now. Once they pick that up, that they're in the zone and they're not even, right? That's their time. For my husband, it's whenever he's watching Star Trek. It's like, ugh, he's not even here. He needs time, and I respect that because he works hard and, he needs time to come down, and it's okay. And I am trying to teach the kids to respect daddy's time, right? I let them know. My kids always want to know, how come you don't have to go to bed and we have to go to bed? And I said, well, you need more sleep than we do. And we need time to just have adult discussion without you. They need to know that adults need to exist without them. This is an adult conversation. This is not for you, right? You can't be here right now. Let them know. Create those boundaries. Boundaries have to exist for every aspect of your life. Otherwise, you will give yourself away to everyone. You will have nothing left for yourself. So that's it for tonight, everyone. Boundaries at work, boundaries with your extended family, boundaries with your immediate family, boundaries with your children. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Take care of yourself. Maintain that space. Protect your energy, protect your peace, protect your vibe. Take care of your mind. You only have one. Join me here next week, Wednesday at 8, when we talk more afterthought for all things mental health and all things real life. Take care. Ciao.